pack Verlisify, and decide to use Kyurem and all of its forms. So that's what our main focus is going to be. So Dragon Ice typing is what we're looking at first, because they all share the same typing, which means, my goodness, you are weak to a lot. So with the Ice typing, just adding a fighting weakness, a rock weakness, a steel weakness, 2 dragons, dragon, and fairy weaknesses, we aren't going to be doing too well. Also, ice resists itself, so at least we're getting rid of the ice weakness off the dragon, but then we only have water, grass, and electric as our only resistances. So Kyurem defensively, because of the typing, not that insane. Now we are going to do something a bit different. We're going to Bulbapedia right now. That way we can look at all of the stats individually. I'm lazy. I didn't want to make 3 graphics for one video. That's just not my style. But if we look right here, we're going to see normal Kyurem, white Kyurem, and black Kyurem. Normal Kyurem is going to have even stat distribution relatively, but only 660 base total stats. White and black Kyurem will have 700 each, and they will be specialists in a certain thing, whether it's physical or special. So white Kyurem going to be a special attacker with a bit more special defense, and black Kyurem going to be a physical attacker with a bit more physical defense. Also, while we're over here in Bulbapedia, we can check out that there's actually moveset differences as well. When you're black Kyurem, you get access to Fusion Bolt, and when you're white Kyurem, you're going to get access to the Fusion Flare. So that's some interesting stuff. You get some carryover for signature moves. And we also have Ice Burn, which is a pretty wild move as well. Ice Burn deals damage and has a 30% chance of burning the target. What? Black Kyurem is going to have Freeze Shock, so that's the physical counterpart. However, these moves aren't really going to have any competitive usage because they take a turn to set up, which is really weird because when we're Kyurem and Reshiram respectively, we get our moves that have 130 base power and they play to our strengths. This isn't really going to do much of that. So it is great to have such a stab, high power move that has good effects, but unless you're running the Power Herb, it's not really worth it. So hopping into Pokemon Showdown, Kyurem. Well, it doesn't really have much. Like, we can look at the stats a bit more right now. 95 on the speed, so I guess we just go and run like a Timid Nature or whatever we're looking for. If we're running it physical, then that means we're going to be running a Jelly Nature. But for the most part, Timid is going to be your best bet because that Ice Beam. I mean, we have Ice Beam with Stab on a 130 special attacker. It is a very, very powerful Ice Beam that you can use to your advantage. Or if you're in double battles or have a Hail set up, then you can go for the Blizzard. I just don't like that 70% accuracy when we're already doing so much damage. So that's mostly going to be a main form of coverage and just high amounts of damage. If you get a super effective hit, that's going to be a pretty easy KO. And since a lot of other legendary Pokemon are going to be Weak Ice, Kyurem does have a bit of an advantage right there, so it can make use of that. But if it's getting outsped, then it has a lot of weaknesses. But it does have some tankiness as well from that 125 hit points. So 125 hit points with the 90s on defenses means it will take a pretty solid super effective hit. But that's really not that hard to come by. And then we have Life Orb, so pretty much straightforward stuff. Other than that, we have Ice Beam, Draco Meteor, so that's going to be our stab damage. Huge Draco Meteor potential as well. 130 special attack, Life Orb, Draco Meteor. That's going to be a lights out for a Pokemon right there. And then we have Earth Power and Flash Cannon coverage. Earth Power and Flash Cannon, these work out pretty well, and we really don't have much else specially, so this is going to be our best bet. On that, Kyurem, for the physical side, is just going to use Outrage. We see some pretty standard stuff, you know, you just use the highest damage moves possible that you have access to, you get the Iron Head, so we still keep our steel coverage, have an option against fairies, but it's not the most insane. Then we have like Stone Edge, Outrage, and that's good to go, pretty much. Now, what's weird is, I would expect a Pokemon like this to have Earthquake, but only has the Earth Power, so that's where we go back over to the special side. However, if we are going physical, then maybe we can go Bulk Roost. I mean, if we max out our hit points and max out our attack, and we're planning on not being the fastest Pokemon on the field, well, it's going to be really hard to 2-hit KO us, and even then, like, super effective hits might 2-hit KO us, so we just go into Outrages for the damage. If we get out of the Outrage, we might have a chance to Roost. If we're not even outraging at all, you know, we're just running off the Iron Head and Stone Edge, that could be pretty well, and then we just Roost when we need to. So, you know, we chip in a little bit of damage, we scout it out. If you know that it's a 2-hit KO between Iron Head and Outrage, you know, you Iron Head, you Roost, you get more health back than you lost, so after taking 2 turns of damage, you can balance that out with a Life Orb. Then you commit to the Outrage, and now if that Outrage wasn't going to be a 1-hit KO, convert it with the Iron Head, and then you make it work from there. That's pretty much it. On that, you just go Adamant Nature in this case, because we're not looking to outspeed, so as much damage as possible and a good amount of tankiness, but super effective hits are going to be a problem. And then we have some other moves on Kyurem. We can go Home Claws, so like Home Claws in this could be alright, but I mean we already have a lot of damage, and accuracy isn't really too much of an issue, so I don't really know what it'll bring. We get the Glaciate. Now Glaciate's, it's an okay move, It's just an Icy Wind with 10 more base power, technically 15 more because of stab, so it's not really that much insane. It still has the same accuracy, just extra damage, but it does hit both opponents in doubles. So instead of using Icy Wind, you have a 95 base speed Glaciate, then you Glaciate into Outspeed onto something like a Draco Meteor. That can work out pretty well, but that's really it. With the offensive set, it's nice to have that speed drop, but I don't really trust running the Glaciate unless you want to get rid of like Earth Power or Flash Cannon. That's a problem on its own, so it's a move that really doesn't get used for being a pretty okay kind of a special move, the signature move right there. So let's go and talk about the other forms. Kyurem White. Kyurem White has 170 special attack, only 95 on that base speed though, so the idea is get speed in this Pokemon. You set up a Sticky Web and go into Kyurem White, that's going to be some amazing stuff right there. Other than that, we still have like the same special attack, so Earth Power, Ice Beam, Draco Meteor, and then we have the Fusion Flare. So pretty much we're getting an Earthquake level of damage, 100 base power. Power doubles if used after Fusion Bolt. I haven't really seen doubles combos make use of that. It's like a nice little touch, but mostly you're just going for the raw damage. It's more than a flamethrower, still have good accuracy, and it's going to be pretty awesome for that. Item options, you can Scarf this and still go for tons of damage. We keep that 125 on the hit point, so I mean, we're a 3-hit KO. If we're outspeeding and we're hitting like super effective hits or something, we can really make it count. So you bring in with the Scarf. If they bring in something that you're hitting neutrally, you'll find a 2-hit KO, and since you're outspeeding, you might only take 1 hit. That probably won't knock you out. So that can work out pretty well, and if we're going to be doing that, then we can go highest speed investment, and that's going to be good to go right there. Now, if we are paying attention to other speed realms, you know, if we go to this 179 right here, well, that's outspeeding 140 base speed Pokemon, so we can put the rest of that into some health investment. Now we're just a little bit bulkier. We might survive an extra hit and then turn that into damage. As for Turbo Blaze, Turbo Blaze is cool in this effect because it ignores the effects of abilities on other Pokemon. So we Earth Power Levitate Pokemon. Bye-bye, Gengar, and we also Fusion Flare Flash Fire Pokemon. Even though it's like a resisted hit, it doesn't really matter. But if we're like Scarf Locked into Fusion Flare, at least we don't get completely screwed over by a Flash Fire Pokemon, and we get to hit Pokemon like Heatran for neutral damage. So that's things considered. You can Life Orb, you know, if you want to switch it around, you go Timid Nature, Life Orb. That's when we max out speed and stuff, and that's going to be pretty nice. We don't get access to the Tailwind, unfortunately. Like, even though we're becoming somewhat like Kyurem, we don't have that Tailwind, which is unfortunate, because then that means we could set up a Tailwind, then go for like 3 turns of pure hard sweeping under that Life Orb, but we don't get that luxury, and we also don't have as much damage. So Kyurem White compared to regular Kyurem kind of doesn't make as much sense, because, well, the special attack, that's going to be 439, or actually, let's go with a Modest Nature. That's going to be 482 if we're going with the highest. Well, let's go and bring up a regular Reshiram, and we're going to see that, you know, 150 special attack, Modest Nature, we're not going to be too far behind. And imagine if we're Life Orbing this. If we're Life Orbing this, that's putting us over 550. And another weird thing is we're about as tanky, that we have more points on defense, more points on special defense, less on the hit points, but defensive stats are worth a bit more during damage calculation, so we're slightly less tanky. We can set up the Tailwind, we can Life Orb Sweep into a stronger move. Like, if you want damage, just the Blue Flare is going to be better than a Kyurem White, even if you're running the Modest Nature. So that's how the stats break down. It's pretty much the same for Kyurem Black. You get the Fusion Bolt, but a big problem is that it's not stab anymore. Like, it's cool that you can have Kyurem White be like a Reshiram with Ice Beam in a way, and that's going to get stabbed, and Draco Meteor still hurts. But with this, you know, Fusion Bolt, that doesn't get stabbed, so 100 base power on an electric move, that's kind of okay. Then we get the Stone Edge, so it's like better accuracy against flying types, and we guess we have water, and then we just Outrage. So same idea with Kyurem Black, you know, we could go Tailwind into Outrage for tons of damage instead of just doing this, which is taking damage and then going into an Outrage. It's going to be slightly less damage because Life Orb is just better. So with this, you Choice Scarf into powerful moves, and then you hope for the best. Other than that, you can mix it up with Kyurem Black, Earth Power, Ice Beam. Like, the Ice Beam is so good, you don't want to give up the Ice Beam. And I mean, if you're taking this Pokemon, you don't even get Ice Punch. So you become bipedal somewhat, and you don't have Ice Punch as an Ice-type move, or as an Ice-type Pokemon, so the Ice Beam is going to be pretty awesome to carry, and that's why we run something like a Naive Nature. Drop our special defense. Again, we're trying not to take hits. We outspeed everything, so maybe in a realm where you take out your opponent's sweepers, you Life Orb into this coverage, and that could go pretty well. If you want to add another layer to this, Fusion Bolt's not really that insane, so I could say like Draco Meteor even. So you like Draco Meteor, try to pick up some damage on a weakened Pokemon into Outrage and Earth Power, Ice Beam, Coverage Sweep. Like, Kyurem is just an awkward Pokemon that really isn't that fantastic, and Reshiram and Zekrom are better without being fused into Kyurem. So it's a thing, and that's pretty much all there is to it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, that's how you use Kyurem White, Kyurem Black, and Kyurem, and I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.
The biggest names in entertainment are together like never before. From timeless classics to the stories you love. The biggest originals you won't find anywhere else.